Good morning and welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are located here in Durham, North Carolina on the ancestral lands of the Eno, Shakori, Saponi, Sissipaha, and Lumbee people who live here among us still today. I'm Reverend Deborah Cayer, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, welcome. If you are new to this community, and especially if you're visiting here today, I invite you to introduce yourself in the chat box so that we can give you a very warm ERUUF welcome. And you will find a link in the chat that will help you learn more about us as well. We invite you also to the Inquirers class on Sunday mornings at 9:30. Those are online right now. The link for the class can be found in the ERUUF events section on the homepage of the website or in our weekly e-news. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be a newcomer to come to Inquirers. It's really fun. We're also offering Sunday morning classes for children and youth beginning at 9:30 on Sunday morning. These classes are variously in-person outdoors, masked and distanced, always masked and distanced, but right now only outdoors. And also we're offering online options. Given the weather, honestly, it's mostly online right now, but check out our offerings on our website or reach out to Julia Tyler, our religious educator, for the most up-to-date information. We really want to be there for our kids and our youth. We know how important that is. At this time, all of our Sunday services, our classes, our groups, and our programs for adults are online or in-person outdoors only right now while the threat from Omicron is so high. We'll see how that goes, and we'll get back to less restrictive measures as soon as it's safely possible. But right now, while the threat is high, we're outdoors only or mostly online. So check out our website, Friday e-news, again, to find out all of the things that are going on, including adult classes on Sunday morning at 9:30. There's UU Theology in addition to Inquirers. It's exciting and good. So I want to share an update on our 2,500 Hours of Love project. So far, drum roll, 3,200 hours have been pledged. That's amazing. And almost half, 1,509 hours have been completed. So make sure to go to the website, check out all of the amazing things that people are doing, and put in your hours and tell the team what you're doing to help increase racial equity, justice, and inclusion. Your community wants to know your story, so be sure and tell us what you're doing. This morning, joining me in this morning's service are Reverend Stacy Grove and Cheryl Fenner Brown. Other participants will introduce themselves and be listed on your screen. Kate Lewis is here live with the piano. Jenny and Sean are working behind the scenes here this morning on technology, and Scott Gaskins is our sound engineer. So at this time, let's just take a breath. And let's just center ourselves. And as you take a breath in, just scan your body and see where your energy is. Where do you feel it in your body? It might be in your hips, your back, it might be in your belly. You might feel like it's around your heart. It might even feel up in your head. Just notice where you're feeling energy. And as you take a breath in, just exhale through that place where you're feeling energy and see what happens. And just settle into your body in a comfortable way, at ease, at peace, open, ready. And so let's continue our service this morning with the prelude.
Get up Sunday morning, could decide to stay home and maintain a leisurely pace. Instead I get dressed and looking my best. Come here to this church-like place. My community's here. In fellowship we're embracing the whole human race. Support for ourselves and justice for all, promoted in this church-like place. Atheist and Jew, Christians and a few folks just looking for their place. They're all welcome here, they enter with no fear, embraced by this church-like place. Black, white, or brown, raised up or cast down, no matter where your birthplace. If you're LGBT, it don't matter to me, you're welcome in this church-like place. No one gets upset about what you believe. Everyone finds a safe space. What makes sense to you might be a mystery to me. We're all searching in this church-like place. We're each on a path to try and make sense of our purpose in life's steeplechase. The answers you'll find will be different from mine. That's just fine in this church-like place. Consider issues of morality, justice, wealth, class, and race, standing together in solidarity, united in this church-like place. We think about things that matter in life, the issues that all people face. Our mission is nutrition of the human condition. We all flourish in this church-like place. We all flourish in this church-like place. We all flourish in this church-like place.
We're very grateful to our members, Eric Thomas and Helen Wolfson, for their special contributions of music in this morning's service. What a joy. I love that, the line especially, we're here for the nutrition of the human condition. Beautiful, thank you. Our opening words this morning are by Amy Lloyd. She says, "Today I want to greet joy without a trace of suspicion. I want to open my eyes to the light without a blink of dread. I want to look at my past without a whisper of shame. I want to look at my future without a hint of fear.
Today, I want to dance without pausing to think. I want to belly laugh without caring who hears. I want to open my arms and twirl in the sun until I fall breathless, free to be myself, full of the joy that I open to allow completely, letting go without even a smudge of suspicion or a wink of hesitation. That is my intention. It's what I want."
Our chalice letting words are by Scott Taylor, slightly adapted. "When we dare to live from the center of our being, when we make our own choices before others' choices make us, When the fire that burns in our belly lights the way, our collective intention has the power to make the world shine anew. We light our chalice this morning for the possibility of intentions. This morning, our first hymn is Come Sing a Song With Me. The words will be on your screen, and you can sing along at home. Our Soul Matters theme this month in January is intention, what it means to live with intention. So often at New Beginnings, we vow to become better people and do better things, and then just as quickly we just slip back to the way things were. And we know that right now we really want to lean in on this, and we want to do a little bit better than that, because we're living in the middle of so much change, pandemic, political, personal. And this year, it just feels like there's so much more at stake. So this month, we're considering how our intentions can rightly support our efforts to protect and defend what we love the most. And this morning, we're going to start in here. We're going to start inside. So we have a story this morning that comes from Brazil. And Cheryl Fenner-Brown and Reverend Stacy and I are going to share it now. This is the story of the fisherman and the businessman. I love the martini. Of course, a businessman has a martini. Okay. So, there once was a businessman who was sitting by the beach in a small Brazilian village. And as he sat, he saw a fisherman rowing a small boat toward the shore, having caught quite a few big fish. The businessman was impressed, and he asked the fisherman,
"How long does it take you to catch so many fish?"
"Oh, just a short while."
"Well, then why don't you stay longer at sea and catch even more?"
This is enough to feed my family."
"So what do you do for the rest of the day?"
"Well, I usually wake up in the morning, go out and catch some fish, go back, spend time playing with my kids. Then I take a nap with my spouse. Evening comes, and I go and join my buddies for a drink, and we dance, and we sing, and we play guitar all night long."
So the businessman offered this suggestion to the fisherman.
"Well, I am a PhD in business management. I could help you become a more successful person. From now on, you should spend more time at sea and try to catch as many fish as possible. When you have saved enough money, you could buy a bigger boat and catch even more fish. Soon you will be able to afford to buy more boats, set up your own company, your own production plant for canned food and a distribution network. By then, you will have moved out of this village and to San Paulo, where you can set up HQ to manage your other branches.
And then what?
Well, after that, you can live like a king in your own house. And when the time is right, you can go public and float those shares in the stock exchange, and you will be rich.
And then what?
Well, after that, you can finally retire, and you can move to a house by the fishing village, wake up early in the morning, and catch a few fish, and then return home to play with the kids, have a nice afternoon nap with your spouse, and when evening comes, you can join your buddies for a drink, play guitar, sing, dance throughout the night.
Isn't that already what I'm doing?
So this story just helps us see how important it is to consider your intentions and why you might want to do something, and know why you might want to do something before you figure out how to do it. When you know why you want something and then you aim for it with intention, it can help you enjoy life, whatever circumstances you might be in right now. So we're going to come back to this later in the service, but now let's listen to an important message from the board chair, the chair of our board of trustees, Bonnie LaCroix.
Good morning. I am so glad to be with you today. My name is Bonnie LaCroix, and I am the current chair of the ERUUF Board of Trustees. I hope that you have all heard by now that the Ministerial Search Committee has completed its deep discernment work and has recommended Reverend Jacqueline Brett as candidate for ERUUF's lead minister. The Board of Trustees is absolutely delighted to concur with their recommendation. The search committee wrote a beautiful letter laying out the reasons for their decision, with which the board wholeheartedly agrees. If you are an ERUUF member, you should have received the letter by email on December 28th. If you didn't receive it, please do check your spam folder or search for an email from office@eruuf.org. You can also reach out to the search committee or the board for a copy. During the last week in January, the search committee will be holding Candidating Week. This is the opportunity for ERUUF groups and members to meet with Reverend Brett as the ministerial candidate and hear her vision for ERUUF's ministry. Candidating Week will be bookended by services led by Reverend Brett and will culminate in a meeting of the full congregation. This special congregational meeting will be held after service on January 30th and will provide an opportunity for members to ask questions of the Ministerial Search Committee, discuss their thoughts about the committee's recommendation, and will conclude with a congregational vote on the recommendation to call Reverend Brett as ERUUF's next lead minister. In the UU tradition, it is the sacred responsibility of congregational members to call a minister. In order to do so, our bylaws require that 25% of our members attend the special congregational meeting. For us, that is nearly 180 people. In addition, 80% of attending members need to vote in the affirmative. So please save the date and spread the word. This is an important moment for us all to join together. We hope to see every single one of you there. Due to COVID protocols, the congregational meeting on January 30th will be held virtually over Zoom, and you must pre-register to attend. Detailed information and registration will be sent to all members in mid-January, so please keep an eye out. As always, if you would like to engage with the board, you can email board@eruuf.org, and you can email the search committee at ministersearch@eruuf.org. This is an exciting time of transition for ERUUF, and the board is delighted with the direction that we are heading, and we hope that you are too. Thank you.
This is a poem by Donna Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as a seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. And in the words of the poetess, this poem is a candle that my soul holds out to me, requesting I find a way to remember what it is to live a life with passion, on purpose. There is only enough light to take the journey step by step, but that is all any of us really needs. When you have the courage to shape your life from the essence of who you are, you ignite, becoming truly alive. This requires letting go of everything that is inauthentic. But how can you even know your truth unless you slow down in your own quiet company? When the inner walls to your soul are graffitied with advertisements, commercials, and the opinions of everyone who has ever known and labeled you, turning inwards requires nothing less than a major cleanup. Traveling from the known to the unknown requires crossing an abyss of emptiness. We first experience disorientation and confusion. Then, if we are willing to cross the abyss in curious and playful wonder, we enter an expansive and untamed country that has its own rhythm. Time melts, and thoughts become stories, music, poems, images, ideas. This is the intelligence of the heart. But by that, I don't mean just the seat of our emotions. I mean a vast range of receptive and connective abilities, intuition, innovation, wisdom, creativity, sensitivity, the aesthetic, qualitative, and meaning-making. It is here that we uncover our purpose and passion.
I love Markova's reflection on our inner wisdom, the intelligence of the heart, she calls it, and how it is that we can listen to everything that's going on inside. I think that's also what's happening in the story about the fisherman and the businessman. The expert can see all kinds of ways to make improvements, so it's funny that he's unaware that there are other ways to get the very same results, sometimes without so much effort and without having to wait 20 or 30 years. There's nothing wrong with studying hard and applying yourself and making things happen. That's actually a really good thing. Bravo. It's just that before we launch into a plan, we ought to spend some time figuring out, as Markova says, how to shape our life from the essence of who we are. Before we leap into action, we would be wise to spend some time figuring out our intention and our purpose. In her poem, To Be of Use, the poet Marge Piercy writes, "The thing worth doing has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know that they are made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real." Marge Piercy. Whatever the poets and what the poets and other spiritual leaders tell us is that intention comes from within. In fact, it cries out to us. It's already there waiting to inform and shape our actions if we know how to listen. And when our actions come out of this place of our essence, they take on a real depth of meaning and purpose. And they actually are imbued with a real imprint of our power and are filled with our power. So we would be wise to become well acquainted with our intentions before we launch into any action. To me, this listening for inner essence seems just right and quite satisfying. Over time, I have collected tools and cooking equipment and art supplies, all things that I really, really like to do. But I have discovered that unless I've acquired these out of an active, engaged interest, they are not going to get used in a timely way. And in fact, there's a risk that the contents are going to spoil and actually go to waste. Similarly, now with just 2 people in our family, sometimes it's astonishing to take inventory and see how much has accumulated in our pantries, in our cupboards, and in our closets and drawers. This fall, we were alone for the holidays, but out of habit or nostalgia or just maybe wishful thinking, I stocked up as if family were coming to visit. And now in January, I have been astonished to find out-of-date burritos hiding at the back of the fridge, and fruit that's losing its flavor as it shrivels in the box, and moldy cheese, yuck. Something similar is true with my art supplies. This fall, I got the urge to round up everything that I'd been stashing in hidey holes all over the house because I don't have a studio. And I was astonished at the amount of paper and pens and pencils and brushes and paint and string and yarn and paint and feathers and beads and glue and wire and fabric and tools that I actually have. And I was also sad. I was sad to notice that when I don't use these things regularly, paints and glues dry up. And over time, fabric gets dusty and elastic gets crumbly and it just falls apart. And I've been realizing this winter that as wonderful as it is to have such abundance and possibility in store and at the ready, I need to make a better balance, find a better balance between what I intend to make actively and what I can actually create before the materials and the supplies begin to fall apart. There could be a much better flow between my supplies and scrap exchange, I think. The writer Annie Dillard noticed something similar about writing and ideas. She says that if we don't act on our ideas and creative impulses, our inspiration actually begins to dry up and disappear. She writes, "One of the few things that I know about writing is this: spend it all, shoot it, play it, lose it all right away, every time. Don't hoard what seems good for a later place in the book or for another book. Give it all, give it now. The very impulse to save something good for a better place later is the signal to spend it now. Something more will arise for later, something better. These things fill in from behind, from beneath, like well water. Similarly, the impulse to keep to yourself what you've learned is not only shameful, it's destructive. Anything you do not give freely and abundantly becomes lost to you. You open your safe and you find ashes." Annie Dillard, you open your safe and you find ashes. Wow. For those of us who have stockpiled all kinds of things, art supplies, clothes, pantry items, books, tools, supplies for a hobby, creative ideas, plans for a business, plans for the future that we've dreamed over but not yet begun, the thought that what you have so carefully laid in store and dreamed of doing can turn to dust is shocking, shocking. This is especially true if we've put these things in place not out of joy and a sense of abundance, but rather as a bulwark between us and uncertainty, or even between us and oppression, between us and threats that rumble like thunder at the heart of change. What does it mean then? And what do we do when we discover that our stockpiled dreams and plans are only so much dust as the rest of the material universe? Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul, return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are again and again, where you can be born again and again. These are the words to a song by Shlomo Carlebach that we sometimes sing here. When we're shocked and confused, he tells us, when we're terrified by what's happening around us to the point that we don't know which way to turn, just return to who you are, to what you are, to the place where you and your sense of purpose can always be reborn. That place is inside each one of us. It has information for us. We only have to remember to go there, to learn, to listen for it. We're going to come back and pick this up a bit later in the service, but right now at this time, Reverend Stacy has the morning meditation for us.
Please join me for a time of meditation and prayer. Allow yourself to settle where you are and simply be with your breath, with your eyes softened or closed, inhaling and exhaling the breath of life as you settle in a bit more. This morning, we hold in our hearts the joys, sorrows, and milestones of our beloved community as we begin this new year with new hope. We continue praying for Diane Blunt as she continues her recovery from her recent surgery. And we pray for Trish Barron's healing after suffering a hemorrhagic stroke on Christmas morning. These names and those held in the privacy of our hearts, we hold gently, with love and with compassion. So let us join our hearts together for a moment of silence. As I read this special prayer of St. Francis, I invite you to reflect upon how you can intentionally allow each hope that is expressed to more deeply settle into each of your lives. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much speak to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Spirit of life and love, we give thanks for this time, for this place of renewal. May we recognize our capacity to let go of what no longer serves us, so that we may be more creative instruments of peace in this world, helping to transform people and situations beyond our knowing. May it be so. Ashe. Amen.
The lone wild bird in lofty flight is still with you, nor leaves your side, and I am yours, I rest in you. Oh, secret thought is known to thee, my whole life's path, whate'er it be, and I am yours, I rest in you. Oh, wondrous love, rest in me too, rest in me too. May ends of earth stretch far and wide, through dark and sea and open sky, and I am yours, I rest in you. Oh, wondrous love, rest in me too, rest in me too. The lone wild bird is love. Rest in me too.
We're talking about intention that comes from that place inside. Sometimes there are certain sounds that can resonate with that place inside, and it can help us feel it. It can help us find that place inside. That's one of the sounds for me is that group. So back to what I was saying earlier. It turns out that the second law of thermodynamics is real. Things fall apart constantly. It turns out that we really do need to use it or lose it. But our life doesn't have to be a constant race against despair and destruction. When we're in the process of losing anything, we can always return to a place inside ourselves from which essential information flows. As Annie Dillard has said, in this essential place, something more will arise for later, something better, because these things fill in from behind, from beneath, like well water. There's always something welling up in that place inside of ourselves, new inspiration, new ideas. Wise people have told us this from many times in many places in the world. In the 6th century, Lao Tzu said, "At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want." This is the place inside of us where our small self meets the sacred. Some traditions call it the place where our small self meets the larger self. We can trust this process because it is sacred and it is good. And not only do we have this within ourselves, but in our tradition, we can test what we're sensing in community with others. That's part of our covenantal tradition. When she was 75 years old, the 20th century writer Doris Grumbach decided to go on a 2-month retreat in the winter in Maine. She did this because she wanted to find out who she really was. She says, "Living alone in quiet with no vocal contributions from others, no sounds except music, from beyond my own ear, I was apt to hear the news of an inner terrain, an endolithic self, resembling the conditions of lichen embedded in rock." She went on a 2-month retreat alone in a desolate place because she wanted to reconnect with her essential self, her endolithic self, and to discover what and who she really was. This place inside us is also the place where we can find our most cherished values and our best intentions. Philip Moffat, who is a coach, says, "Setting intention, at least according to Buddhist teachings, is quite different than goal making. It is not oriented toward a future outcome. Instead, intention setting is a path or a practice that's focused on how you're going to be in the present moment. Your intentions are about where your attention is ever on the ever-present now, in the constantly flowing changing of life. So you set your intention based on understanding what matters most to you, and you make a commitment to align your worldly actions with your inner values. Goals can help you make your place in the world and be an effective person, but being grounded in intention is what provides integrity and unity in your life." Philip Moffat. So Moffat says that, of course, goals can help us become effective and productive, but before that, our intention can help provide us with integrity and purpose and a deep sense of unity. I think we recognize this when we see someone and we describe them as someone who really has it all together. There's a kind of integrity to this person. They just seem to, they possess a kind of simplicity or a single focus, even when they've got a really big vision. They possess a kind of calm and certainty without being arrogant or self-absorbed. They just know who they are and they know what they're about. Unitarian Universalist religious educator Katie Covey says, intention pulls us into who we truly are. Goals and resolutions push us out into future possibilities. To be most effective, first, being informed by intention is the best way that we can be effective with our goals and our actions in the world. So when we return to this inner essential place, this home of our soul, we also find other things. This is the place where our core values originate. This is also the place where we form images and we set out almost like an image, an emblematic intention of how we want to be understood and known in the world. When you reflect on this, especially in light of the brand new year, you might sense that you want to focus on something particular. Maybe it's your emotional strength or your physical health. Maybe you want to learn something new, or you just might want to be happier or more at peace. But as you turn these things over in your mind, you begin to notice other things in the picture, other people, other things that are going on. And you begin to understand, maybe, for example, that maybe friendship is part of what's going on for you in there. Or maybe what you notice is that you're really yearning to be part of a team or part of a community. Maybe you notice that you really need to come forward out of the wings, out of the shadows, to take the spotlight and get a little recognition for a change. Or maybe what you really want is time to focus, time to study how to dance, how to tell stories. The point is, behind your first idea, there are always other things going on. And among all these other things, they kind of suggest a richer life that you could lean into. And so your intention isn't only about the strength or health, or your strength or health, or your learning or your happiness. What creates these things is more than just the sum of the parts. So when you look at the whole inner picture, all of it can help guide you to whatever it is that's calling you to be your most essential self. You can discover what it is that's calling you to as your intention. And when we create an intention from this inner nexus of thoughts, feelings, ideas, values, and experiences, we have a better chance of finding our own unique purpose, our own authentic way to be of use. We can trust this because it comes from our essence. It comes from our most authentic self, or as Shlomo Carlebach would say, it's coming from the home of our soul, that place where our small self is in dialogue with our larger self, the whole world, other people, everything. This is also how our purposeful life will be in close alignment with our greatest values. And when we know this, we can always, always return to our values, our intention, our purpose, when we get knocked off course, as it naturally just constantly happens. We get knocked off course. But when we lose track, it's not a terrible, shameful failure. All that's needed is a simple course correction, a little adjustment, a little adjustment, and it just gets us back toward our intention, aimed again at what it is that we really want. In the 13th century, Meister Eckhart wrote, "The outward work can never be small if the inward work is great. And the outward work can never be great or good if the inward work is small or of little worth." He was telling us to go inside, begin again in the home of our soul, in that essential place within each one of us. And that this is our great work. Without it, no other work that we do will have any great worth. But when we do this inner work, we're able to participate in the great work, the sacred work of the universe. We're able to give our gifts and be of service. We're able to be of use. Wise people seem to always have discovered these things again and again, and this wisdom has pulled them through times of tumultuous change and worse. And this is their gift to us. And so we can trust that our intention can help us find a meaning, a life of meaning and purpose, no matter what kind of level and magnitude of change is going on around us. Identifying our intention can help us find good ways to be of use. That's the news from here this morning. Blessed be. Ashe. Amen. Every week we come to ERUUF hoping, I think, to find some of this, some way to be in touch with the wellspring, some way to find what it is that is our gift and what it is that we have to give. We are having a time now for the offering, and as we listen to Helen and Eric play the offertory, you can contemplate what all of this is for you. If you would like to give a gift, if you don't already have a way to do so, you can find a portal also on our website for that. We give thanks for all the gifts so generously given that help to weave the fabric of this beloved community and weave us into the world beyond our doors. We especially give thanks this morning for the gifts of storytelling and the gift of music. Our final hymn this morning is For All That Is Our Life. The words will be on your screen and you can sing along at home. Our closing words this morning are by Scott Taylor, slightly adapted. He says, "When we dare to live from the center of our being, when we make our own choices before others' choices make us, when that fire that burns in our belly lights our way, then our collective intention can make the world shine anew." Go with love, friends. Go with joy to share whatever good things you've found here this morning. The world is waiting and it's aching for you and for your good news. Blessed be. Amen. Let's go.